Right, start this again. Item number, SCP-3258, Object Class Safe. Special Containment Procedures, all instances of 3258 are to be kept in a standard biocontainment cell within Site HER. Any observed changes in 3258's behavior are to be reported to a supervisor of Level 4 clearance or higher. Description: 3258 currently designates 246 instances of a previously unknown species of bacteriophage of the family Miraviridae. 3258 are approximately 0.45 meters in height, several million times larger than most species of bacteriophage, but are otherwise anatomically similar. Half-meter tall antibacterial thing. That's kind of worrying. 3258 possesses all the physiological structures necessary for the transfer of the genetic material. However, 3258 are incapable of infecting any known organism, as they are too large to successfully penetrate eukaryotic cells. There's addendums here. It was previously unknown what effects would manifest if infection by 3258 was possible. Has since been changed with addendas. 3258 are capable of terrestrial locomotion through the use of their tail fibers and can move across walls and ceilings in a similar manner. Despite lacking sensory organs, 3258 are capable of avoiding collisions with the walls of their containment cell and with each other, suggesting the ability to sense their surroundings to some capacity. To date, no instances of 3258 have required sustenance of any kind. Instances of 3258 are generally docile. When left alone, 3258 instances will either stand entirely still or move throughout the area of the containment cell in a seemingly random fashion. When in the presence of humans, 3258 appear to display behavior indicative of curiosity, following and generally maintaining a close proximity to the detected subject. Instances of 3258 have yet to display any signs of aggression towards the subject and will rapidly retreat if a subject performs rapid body movements or loud vocalizations. They almost sound cute. Addendum 3258.1, Discovery and Apprehension. All instances of 3258 were discovered in the town of Hearn, Michigan, following a spike in the electromagnetic radiation emanating from the area. Radiation had dissipated to normal levels by the time Foundation personnel arrived, and the source of the radiation spike was never discovered. However, several instances of 3258 were found nearby, prompting a sweep of the surrounding area. A total of 250 instances of 3258 were captured and delivered to Bio-Research Area 12. Since initial containment, 4 instances of 3258 have been terminated for the purpose of dissection and genetic sequencing. Sweet little bacteria. I know, right? Addendum 3258.2, Genetic Experimentation. Through the artificial transfer of genetic material found in 3258 into samples of Enterobacteriophage T2, a strain of bacteriophage genetically identical to 3258 but small enough to infect human cells, has been created. These instances have been designated 3258-2. Experimentation on Class D personnel has been approved. Update: all exposed subjects experienced no adverse effects resulting from infection. Blood analysis revealed the creation of antibodies sufficient in eliminating 3258-2 within 2 days of exposure. 3258-2 classified as minimal threat. Addendum 3258.3, Incident Report 20 On that same date, 2 Class 3 ontokinetic entities being contained at Site HER experienced several minutes of uncontrolled bodily spasms before losing consciousness. Foundation personnel were alerted to the issue through a live video surveillance, and medical units were administered to their respective containment cells. Upon examination, it was discovered that both entities had undergone cardiac arrest. Through defibrillation and artificial oxygenation, one of the entities was successfully revived and returned to a conscious state. Upon post-incident examination, counter readings indicated no difference between the entity's internal and external Hume levels, as both had adjusted to equal exactly 1 Hume. As a result, the entity became incapable of performing ontokinetic processes. During this time, analysis of the entity's blood revealed the presence of living instances of 3258-2. Following this discovery, the entirety of Site HER was put on lockdown. It is currently unknown how 3258-2 managed to reach and infect both entities, nor is it known how many personnel were infected in the process. It is theorized that the instances administered to D-Class personnel during testing had not been eliminated as previously believed, but it had instead entered a state of dormancy until exposed to further opportunities for infection. Furthermore, it is currently not known how 3258-2 is capable of equalizing the Hume levels of infected individuals. Due to the rarity of ontokinetic beings, further experimentation has not been permitted at this time. However, genetic sequencing of 3258 has commenced in hopes of revealing more information about this process. Update. As of through the regular application of immunotherapeutic treatments to research personnel and ontokinetic entities, as well as the termination of all D-class carriers, the presence of 3258-2 has been successfully eliminated from all Site As such, Site has been removed from lockdown status. Despite the elimination of the viral infection, the formerly ontokinetic entity has displayed no signs of recovered ontokinetic effects. Increased monitoring of the entity, as well as regular medical examinations, are to be continued until further notice. Okay. Addendum 3258.3 Genetic Sequencing Report. As of the genome of 3258 has been successfully mapped in its entirety. Approximately 100% of 3258's genetic structure is similar to that of a non-anomalous bacteriophages, and is believed to encode for various proteins involved in reproduction. Another 100% of 3258's genetic structure does not resemble any known viral sequence, but strongly resembles the genetic structure of redacted within human redacted cells. It is theorized that this portion may relate to 3258's heme-altering properties. The remaining 100% of 3258's genetic sequence comprise various pieces of non-coding DNA. These genes are interspersed among segments of functioning DNA in an organized pattern, suggesting artificial involvement in the formation of 3258's genetic structure. Update. Due to an unprompted personal initiative on the part of Dr. a simple binary language similar to Morse code has been discovered in the arrangement of non-coding segments of 3258's DNA. The translation of this sequence is as follows. I'm sorry, there's actually a message in this DNA. Greetings. If you are reading this, then you are under the impending threat of one or more extraterrestrial, extradimensional, or otherwise otherworldly entities of level 10 ontokinetic capacity or higher. Fortunately, your planet/reality has been chosen for salvation by the Foundation of Supernatural, Celestial, and Paranormal Extermination. Oh my god, it's another SCP with an SCP, for fuck's sake! At least it's not the squirrels. At least it's not the squirrels again. When the day of reckoning arrives, these organisms will infect and eliminate all impending cosmic threats, provided they are given sufficient freedom to do so. For this reason, please do not keep these organisms physically contained in any capacity, as it will hinder the efficiency with which they will complete their task. We wish you luck in the continuation of your species, the Council of Dimensional Oversight. Go on, helicopter. Bugger off. Due to the information provided within the sequence, alteration to 3258's containment procedures are currently pending approval. Oh, now I see why it's called God Killers. Well, that was a thing. And now for probably one of the shortest SCPs I've ever read, and I've not written any SCPs. Oh no. That takes a huge amount of skill I do not have. Let's just change that. Okay. Now this one I know was submitted by Lily, as in submitted to be read, and I can see why. It's called Lily's Proposal, and also known as The World's Gone Beautiful. Item number, SCP-001. Object class, unnecessary. Special containment procedures, 001 does not need to be contained. In the event of 001 occurring, all personnel, including D-class, are to be honorably discharged and may do what they wish with their remaining time. All sapient and non-aggressive SCPs are to be released. Any further SCPs which can be decommissioned are to be. All remaining Foundation sites are to be run by the AIAD systems. Specifically bred instances of SCP-514 are to be released globally, which is, what's 514? Euclid. Homing pigeons. They are Euclid classification level homing pigeons. Description. 001 refers to an event occurring shortly before the cessation of all life on Earth. Whilst 001 has not yet taken place, it was discovered through various pieces of information gathered from extra-universal foundations and other similar groups. See attached document 001A for a list of such communications, which I do not have. It is important to note 001 is not the cause of the apocalyptic scenario, merely a pre-occurrence response to it. 001 is, according to records, distinctly recognised by certain key features. During an 001 event, flowers are observed to spontaneously appear and bloom over 90% of the viable land surface of the planet. These flowers are universally referred to as vibrant, bright, beautiful, and/or worse to this effect. The weather will clear globally, with an ambient temperature recognised as comfortable by the majority of the populace. Air pollution will additionally clear. During an 001 event, the global populace will become aware of the fate of the Earth and of its inevitability. They will also experience heavily decreased levels of violence. 001 will occur exactly 24 hours before the death of all life on the planet. And that's it. That was it. That was not what I was expecting for a SCP-001. I never expect those to be nice, because generally they're not. Also, this green screen's moved. This bit right here that you can see there. And the fact is that that's not even really the edge. More like fold. And the more I do that, the worse it gets. I don't know. But yeah, that was the shortest and nicest SCP I've read, especially an 001 proposal. So in that case, I'm guessing we are going to do a random SCP. How's it go? Hello and welcome, and thank you for your contribution to the Masochism Stream Challenge. Lily, hello and welcome. We just read your submitted SCP. Welcome, Woodgren. Thank you for your contribution to the Masochism Stream Challenge. Okay, so this one is 7576. Thank you, Ride, also for your contribution to the Masochism Stream Challenge. Space Grim, how do you like it? Yeah, it was fine. It was fine. It was like, it wasn't what I was expecting for a 001 proposal at all. It was nice. Okay, that's fixed that thing. That was annoying me. Excuse me. Just dropped in, have no SCP suggest. That is completely fine. It looks like what we're probably going to be doing is doing a few random ones and then just switching away and doing something else. Thank you, Lily, for your contribution to the Masochism Stream Challenge. I'll probably, if I do switch away, I'll probably find a boomer shooter or something to load up and have fun with. Although this is a bit of a long one. Let's see where we are after this. Item number SCP-7576. Class Euclid. Special containment procedures. Physical artifacts related to 7576 will be confiscated and witnesses will be provided with Class G amnestics. Digital artifacts related to SCP-7576 will be deleted. High schools mentioned in connection with 7576-B will be observed for possible manifestation of anomalous phenomena associated with group of interest 076, the Class of 76. Midwestern Americans in primary and secondary schools will be systematically discouraged from pursuing higher education through embedded Foundation operatives in the local governments. Actually, I think I know what I'm going to do next after this one, because it was mentioned. We're going to have a look at 514. The pigeons. A flock of doves. So we'll put that as the next one up. DJ, hello and welcome. Are you suggesting 3209? Okay, that has not been put in, so we'll take that. Do it February 8 holds true for Helldivers 2. Same. It does seem that it's been confirmed. We shall soon see. Description. 7576 is a material associated with adolescent United States citizens that do not exist. 7576 has both physical manifestations and has written records of academic performance, recognition awards, and self-authored journal entries, and digital records largely consisting of inactive social media accounts. Individual described by 7576, 7576-A, are typically juniors or seniors in high school in the top decile of their academic years. 7576-A instances generally also participate in 3 or more time-intense extracurricular activities. Supposed families and peer groups of 7576-A instances do not consider the existence of 7576 irregular, and if pressed about 7576-A, usually state that they believe the individual is enjoying their attendance of 7576-B. 7576-B describes advertisement and recruiting material for a non-existent institute of higher education named American College of the Midwest, or ACM. 7576-B is described as a small institution that provides a hands-on, deeply individual approach to personal development and preparation for professional success. 7576-B also is described as a popular college choice for high school students and labels high schools from across the American Midwest as feeder schools. Notably, 7576-B material continues to list Salvation High School and Kirk Longwood High School as feeder schools, despite the containment and closure of these institutions. No records of any individuals attending 7576-B exist. 7576-B's admissions process is notably simpler compared to industry-standard college admissions process. 7576-B advertises that it only requires a SAT score of 1000 for guaranteed entry with no additional requirements. Footnote stating the SAT test is a common metric used to assess academic performance for college admissions. The SAT is divided into a reading, writing section and a mathematics section, each of which is scored on a scale from 200 to 800 points. Good to know. Notably, the expedited process as offered by 7576 resembles the college admissions process of the 1970s. No mention of 7576-B has been detected outside of 7576 associated material. SCP-7576 representative data files. The following selection of 7576 files describe Adam Kim, known as also as 7576-A-425, and are largely representative of the 7576-A instances described by 7576 phenomena. Approximately 500 plus individual files also associated with 7576-A-425 are available with HMCL supervisor approval. You finished Forgive Me, Follow, and Easy. It does the Doom 2 thing, gives you a headache. I haven't played it much of it. I might play more of it today. Who knows? Atypical variations. 7576-A-425 material contains a reference to a website previously noted in connection with SCP-2747. This appears to be idiosyncratic with the 7576 corpus. However, due to similarities in both anomalies, this is a matter of ongoing investigation. SCP-7576-B recruitment letter. Dear Mr. Kim, we've heard of your top academic record and extracurricular success, and we'd like to offer you a place at the American College of the Midwest. At ACM, you can have all American college experience you've dreamed of for 47 years. Footnote, the exact duration cited is consistently the number of years elapsed since 1976 and the time of letter receipt. A warm and welcoming campus, drinking and merrymaking, deep and meaningful conversations with the brightest minds of a generation. Falling in love, a white picket fence, and 2.5 kids. Why would you get a white picket fence and 2.5 kids at a college? That's weird. All we need to do is send us your SAT scores. No additional tests, no personal essays, no open-ended questions, no assessment of personal worth, no extracurriculars, no failure, no tedium, no stress. We look forward to your application. Sincerely, Admissions, American College of the Midwest, established 1876. Wow. 7576-A-425 Curriculum Vitae. Adam Kim, Educational History, Ottawa Hills High School, 2019 to present, unweighted GPA 4.0, valedictorian. These things mean nothing to me. Notable classes: AP English Language, AP English Literature, AP Studies, AP Calculus, AB, AP Chemistry, AP Physics 1, AP Biology, AP US History, AP US Government and Politics, AP Art History, AP Comp Science Principles, and HR Scientific Research. Extracurriculars: Varsity Track Captain 2022 to 2023, Ottawa Hills High School Jazz Ensemble Tuba 2019 to 2023. Volunteer experience, Builders Beyond Borders captain, 2022 to 2023. Fundraised and led a relief trip to Africa to build housing infrastructure for impoverished communities. Publications, academic publications, economic and sociological effects of betting big on Bitcoin versus traditional casino gambling, Journal Student Research 2023. For fuck's sake. Creative writing in epistolary format. Powerwatch Creepypasta forums, 153 posts, username Akimbo. It's the Scolopendra wiki. What? The website does not appear to exist. See Powerwatch entry included for contextual information. 100 plus entries, username Akimbo. Additional awards. Scholastic Gold Key Award, Visual Arts 2020, proficient in spoken and written Korean, recognized by Columbus Korean Association for outstanding student leadership. 7576-A-425 social media thread, Powerwatch. Excuse me. Powerwatch is an online paranormal phenomena enthusiast forum where users congregate to share information about their encounters with anomalous phenomena. It is actively monitored by the Foundation and is used as a disinformed vector. The following information was flagged as related to irregularities within 7576-A-425's curriculum vitae and is presented with additional context. Akimbo. If you know me, you may notice I usually don't post in the real shit parts of Powerwatch. I prefer the creepypasta boards because it's what I'm used to. It's what I'm good at. So this story is going to be a little rough around the edges because it's real and not something I made up. And I've fudged a few details so it's harder to figure out who I am. Powerwatch Creepypasta isn't the first place I've done creative writing. When I was 10, I discovered the Scolopendra wiki. It is the kind of place that's difficult to describe. Imagine if Kane Pixel's Backrooms was about cataloguing monsters instead, or if the video game Control was a writing project. The X-Files, but the Shadow Organization isn't the FBI. The core stories were these made-up files about monsters, many of them insects, but slowly growing less and less insect-like. I fell in love with it. I spent hours reading through it, learning about monsters like the reticent manlet, the statue, the immortal arthropod. The wild adventures of Catalogus Shadow and Catalogus Scale and Catalogus Lever. How they fought the Scolopendra and between themselves like crowdsourced Olympian gods. And once I'd read everything there was, I started writing for it myself. It was a modest works, the sort of stuff that starts out as a hobby, but quickly became much more. I would pull all-nighters to write my next Scolopendra entry. Every hour of every waking day would be consumed with thoughts of this. While I was running my 6-minute mile, I was painting. Even when I was building wells in Africa, I thought of how I could use that experience to improve my Scolopendra. It went great. I shot up in the ranks, quickly becoming one of the rising stars of 2013. I started dreaming of how this could be part of my future, how I could be a real writer. And then one day I woke up and it wasn't there. Nothing at all. I poured so much of my life and energy into this, so much time I could spend on developing skills, writing papers, reading books, working out, even spending time with friends or falling in love, but none of it happened at all. Nothing meaningful remains. It was all a colossal fucking waste. I've wasted my life and now I've nothing worth living for. Sludgeman, are you talking about the Backrooms wiki? Most of them are 14 too. Max, unrealistic. You can get away with some of those flourishes in the creepypasta boards because we all know those are made up. But this sounds like BS. A 6-minute mile, building wells, and painting? Come on. Those are Mary Sue traits. I don't know why you want to put them into a first-person narrative. Also, it's really prosy, which hurts the true crime vibe, and you shouldn't try that sort of thing. Akimbo, I'm not joking, and I didn't make any of this up. Here's my resume with my name taken out. Subject originally linked his resume, which was removed by Powerwatch moderator. Stormbreath, dude, if this is real, what the fuck does it matter? You can go to a great school and get set for life. Leave the internet hobby site about stuff that isn't real behind. I'm talking about Powerwatch, not Scolopendra. Also snipped, don't self-dox, you fucking idiot. Akimbo, I've been waitlisted from all the Ivies. My chance of getting a shit. Even half my safeties turned me down. My only sure shot is ACM. I guess it doesn't sound so bad. All my life I've been a piece of putty stretched in every direction as thin as a balloon. So I have no shape of my own. I have Scolopendra and I have Powerwatch, but maybe I'll find something meaningful in the real world. Diary of SCP 7576-8-425. The following excerpts from physical artifacts associated with 7576-A-425 are typical examples of the final pieces of media generated by 7576 phenomenon for every 7576-A instance. Exhibit A. Exhibit A highlights a common sentiment expressed 7576, which is best characterized as a dissatisfaction with higher academic expectations. 1/21/2023 wrote a manga, footnote, Japanese English serial, and a line stuck out to me. A genius is just someone who others can't easily understand. I don't think I'm a genius. I'm just smart. People don't treat me like a genius in the good way. They're just so far away. I never wanted that. I just wanted to be happy. But the only way to be happy is to get ahead, unless the easy way is the happy one. Excuse me. Exhibit B. Exhibit B describes messages that depict a conscious choice to attend ACM. No instances of 7576 that depict 7576-A instances after this decision is made are currently known to exist. 3/16/2023. ACM it is. Fine. That's a thing. Cool. Parawatch. Again, another one. 3426 has not been done, so we'll put that on. It would actually help if I typed in the right number. Okay, this next one. Oh, I actually need to change the guidelines. Here's the problem with doing the random ones. They can't all be awesome ones. Item number SCP-514, Object Class Euclid. Special Containment Procedures. There is currently no permanent containment site for 514, see Addendum 2. 514 is currently being tracked by Mobile Task Force Lambda 4, aka Birdwatchers, who are under orders to observe 514. In the event that 514 strays near a densely populated area or an area where its presence will be easily noticed, Mobile Task Force Lambda 4 is authorized to use the Footnote 1. Due to sensitivity of this information, all knowledge of its containment procedure is limited to O5 level administrators and MTF Lambda 4 members only, in order to manipulate 514's migration patterns. Access to 514 and the is restricted to Mobile Task Force Lambda 4. Level 4 personnel may also have access, but must have O5 level approval beforehand. Any experiments and weapon tests with 514 must be performed exclusively at the Foundation Advanced Weapons Research Facility. In the event that 514 risks public exposure or capture by rival groups, Mobile Task Force Lambda 4 is authorized to terminate the threat by any means necessary. It is highly recommended that such threats be terminated before they reach 514's zone of influence, that it is not strictly necessary. Description: 514 is a flock of Columbia liver domestica, or homing pigeons. Visual analysis confirms that these pigeons are in fact the kind used in white dove release ceremonies. However, the type of ceremony they were used in or the identity of who bred these doves is currently unknown. What makes 514 unusual is the weapon and aggression nullification zone of influence it seems to project around itself. This zone of influence projects itself in a roughly 500 meter radius around the flock. This estimation varies depending on the flock's size. This zone of influence renders every type of weapon inoperable and often destroys effective weapons after prolonged exposure. For instance, firearms will immediately jam or misfire, explosives will be rendered inert, and melee weapons will decay into dust. Also, the item's 514 zone of influence destroy appears to be selective. For further details, see experimental log 514A. In addition to its weapon nullification ability, 514 can also somehow suppress violent emotions and an intent in sentient beings within the zone of influence. Interviews with staff and civilians who have been exposed to the zone of influence say that they felt very calm and content, even when they felt stressed and angry just moments before. For further details, see experimental log 514B. Excuse me. Currently, there appears to be no harmful or lasting effects to being exposed to 514's zone of influence. Rigorous physical and psychological screening of individuals exposed to the zone of influence show nothing out of the ordinary. 514 was first discovered when numerous reports of weapon stockpiles were reported as having been destroyed in numerous African nations. While initial reports were written off as poor maintenance on the part of the owners of the weapons, additional reports of sightings of a flock of homing pigeons, which are uncommon in Africa, garnered Foundation interest. An investigation team was sent to track 514, where they encountered a team claiming to be affiliated with the Manor Charitable Foundation, who were also tracking it. The MCF members admitted they released 514 in an effort to end all conflict in Africa, despite not having a reliable way to control its movements. Unfortunately, the MCF was apparently unaware that 514's aggression suppression effects were only temporary once affected subjects were no longer within its zone of influence, and they would reduce numerous hostilities with improvised or primitive weaponry once 514 left. In addition, 514's random movements caused only by certain regions to be disarmed, leaving them vulnerable to invasion by their unaffected neighbours. It took another 3 weeks before MTF Lambda 4 were able to bring the to control 514's movements. The MCF members then challenged the Foundation team for possession of both 514 and the HER. Since both parties were still under 514's effects, the conflict was resolved through a single round of rock, paper, scissors, with the Foundation being the victor. Love it. The MCF members then fled the area before they could be further questioned. The origin of 514 and how it came to possession of the MCF remains unknown. Experimental log 514A. Various tests were performed by continually using the HER to have 514 circle around the Foundation Advanced Weapons Research Facility. Firearms. Items used: Glock 9mm handgun, Colt 45 1911 handgun, MP5 submachine gun, Thompson submachine gun, M16 assault rifle, AK-47 assault rifle, SAW, M24 sniper rifle. Data expunged. All weapons confirmed to be in working order. Result: all weapons when tested failed to fire. Later inspection shows that all weapons suffer from various mechanical failures that rendered the weapons useless. Ammunition exposed to the zone of influence also failed to fire when loaded into weapons not affected by the zone of influence. Chemical propellant was found to be rendered completely inert. Items used: 1 standard hand grenade, 28.35 or 1 ounce of dynamite, 1 ounce of C4 high explosive, 1 ounce of thermite, 1 81mm high explosive mortar round, 1 120mm tank shell. Data expunged. Result: all explosives were immediately rendered inert when exposed to the zone of influence. In addition, any detonators or components that would aid in the detonation of the tested device suffered mechanical and electronic failure. Melee weaponry: 1 combat knife, 1 steak knife, 1 baseball bat, 1 katana, 1 poleaxe, 1 spear. Result: all weapons with the exception of the steak knife and the baseball bat were rendered useless through accelerated rate of decay. However, when the steak knife and baseball bat were used in a threatening manner, both items were immediately rendered useless through accelerated decay. Weapons of mass destruction: 1 litre of sarin nerve gas, 1 gram of weaponized anthrax, 1 tactical nuclear warhead. Result: all weapons rendered completely inert, all samples including nuclear material were completely degraded, and instruments recorded no radiation. In the case of the warheads, the electronic detonator was also rendered useless. Conclusion: 514's zone of influence appears to be able to render any conventional weapon inoperable. Also, the damage each weapon suffers is directly proportional to how long the weapon is exposed to the zone of influence. In under an hour, all weapons eventually degraded into dust. The zone of influence is also somehow selective, being able to discern items that are actively designed as weapons from items that are potentially dangerous but not specifically designed to be weaponized. However, 514 also appears to be able to discern when an item will be used for violent intent, and said item will be directly affected by the zone of influence. It remains unclear whether 514's ability to selectively target certain weaponry and discern hostile intent is property inherent to its zone of influence, or if it is directly controlled on the part of 514 itself through some form of group intelligence. Dr. Her. Experiment log 514B. Live subjects were exposed to 514's zone of influence for an extended period of time. The subjects were divided into 2 groups: voluntary test subjects drawn randomly from the general population as a control group, and Class D personnel with a history of violent behaviour as a test group. Test shows that the test group's violent tendencies were completely suppressed and acted in a similar fashion to the control group. Suppression of the test group's violent tendencies occurs even after the subjects leave the zone of influence, though the duration is directly proportional to the time spent exposing the zone of influence. Live testing against sentient SCPs proposed, pending 05 approval. Dr. Hunt. Can you imagine if they got into 482? Hate Gator. Addendum 1. Several high-ranking members in the Foundation's military branch, as well as various associated government agencies, have expressed interest in weaponizing 514. There is great strategic and tactical value in an asset that can effectively neutralize an entire enemy army's arsenal in a short period of time. There are also requests to test 514's zone of influence against several Cater-level SCPs. However, access to 514 as well as the HER remains restricted. 05 Command is currently deliberating the issue. Addendum 2. All attempts to capture 514 for containment and study have been met with failure. Every agent, doctor, and researcher sent to capture 514 steadfastly refused to complete the mission. This is most likely a reaction to 514's zone of influence. Attempts to remotely capture the flock through use of drones or long-range devices have resulted in the destruction of all equipment involved. It is evident that 514 interprets any attempts to capture it as a hostile act, triggering the nullification effects of its zone of influence in response. Again, it is still unclear whether this is a property inherent to the 514's zone of influence or is regulated through a group intelligence among the flock. Surveillance with Mobile Task Force Lambda 4 still in effect, with the use of HER authorized. Addendum 3. As of HER date, all members of Mobile Task Force Lambda 4 are required to be proficient in various non-violent competitive actions, including but not limited to sports, board games, card games, video games, trivia, riddles, and rock, paper, scissors. Are you serious? The fate of one of our SCPs could be decided on the outcome of rock, paper, scissors? 05 I assure you, sir, you have nothing to fear. We are dead serious about these matters. Captain Mobile Task Force Lambda 4, Birdwatchers. Note, Captain, couldn't you have chosen a more dignified game as your primary conflict resolution method? Seeing two grown men in all black tactical gear taking a children's card game so seriously is off-putting. 0511. I just imagine playing Uno for the control of this. Oh, God. Except if someone was playing Uno with me and Q involved, it would not stay like Uno for long because it would get real violent. God, what the fuck? I can see why it was involved with 001. I can see why there was that involvement. Goes to SCP a lot trying to list what's good because well, clans are arachnophobia. Fair. Dropping some of these along the way, created would depending on the range, calm things down a bit. Would a bit. 514 meets 729/J. Oh, gods. That'd be weird. World's most deadly Uno games. I love that the reaction from the official Uno account is you can't stack +2s on top of each other, and you also can't stack +4s on top of each other. And the global response was, thank you for your game, we'll take it from here. And 3, 4, 2, 6. We might as well get these both up. Oh, 3, 4, 2, 6, that's why. Cthulhu and the Yellow King meeting. I'd love that. I would love that. Even better is now officially made deck all about stacking various draw X while together. Oh, that's amazing. I've got to do a session of playing Uno again, and I've got to get Q in there as well because my good god, the amount of rage that I cause Q to have through my shenanigans is amazing. It is so legendary to the fact that there is art of basically me being a shit in Uno and Q being intensely hateful of it. In fact, actually, I will grab the I will grab it. Give me 2 seconds. Where are you? I know pretty much. I know where you go. There it is. Accurate portrayal of me playing Uno with Jason Q. Because that is exactly what happened. I put down +4, Q would get pissed off, me and Jace would laugh. Oh, God. Rosin Bailey's ice cream. Community night Uno. God. That would be hilarious. That really would be hilarious. Right, next one up. Item number SCP-3209, Object Class Euclid. Special Criterion Procedures. Personnel interacting with populations of 3209 are to wear liquid crystal active shutter glasses operating at or above 60 Hz, while specimens of 3209 are to be captured and relocated to an on-site lapidary butterfly house. Monasteries keeping 3209 populations are to be closely monitored for specimens escaping into the wild. Description: 3209 Sylvania Acadia is an anomalous species of butterfly which preys upon interest. A 3209 specimen feeds by perching on the nose of its target and rapidly fluttering its wings in front of their eyes. Affected animals become lethargic and unmotivated, eventually dying of starvation. Sapient beings exhibit a more complex set of symptoms when exposed to 3209. The primary effect is permanent loss of interest in a hobby or topic. Examples of interest lost due to 3209 including card games, poetry, science fiction films, and golf. Frequent exposure to 3209 causes chronic edema and apathy. Imagine Eldritch Odds playing Cards Against Eldritch, like a bunch of drunken people playing Cards Against Humanity. No idea what would be on the cards, though. It'd be all in really, script. As most symptoms of exposure are nearly indistinguishable from dysthemia, attempts to locate wild populations of Savannah Acadia have primarily focused on tracking down reports of rainbow-winged butterflies. In severe cases, individuals continually exposed to 3209 may be identified among patients in psychiatric care facilities. Such patients typically have no prior history of behavioural incidents, live outside of cities, and are hospitalised following suicide attempts which failed due to their lack of motivation. Mood. Addendum 3209.1 Field Reports of Agent Bartell. The Ethics Committee has indefinitely postponed actions against monasteries in and around Nepal, an unknown number of which may be maintaining populations of Savannah Acadia in secret. Internal discussions centre around the testimony of field agents Aaron Bartell, who was assigned to identify and investigate monasteries involved. 02/11/2018. I have a lead, an ex-monk in Panoti with severely disabling apathy. Can't even get out of bed. Probably a straightforward case of depression, but his nickname caught my eye. Apparently people call him the Butterfly Man. 02/15/2018. Met the Butterfly Man. Real name Rajiv Siaka. Couldn't get a statement from him. He had no interest in conversing. As far as I can tell, he has no interest in anything. Borderline vegetative. I did obtain the name of his former monastery from one of the neighbours taking care of him, Tegar Gompa. Located in a valley a few kilometres east of here. Hoping this doesn't turn out to be a more dead end. I haven't seen my family in, 4 months? 02/17/2018. Tegar Gompa is beautiful. It's surrounded by Persian silk trees, the ones studded with pink flowers. The monastery itself is an arrangement of pale stone buildings around a courtyard. The buildings are connected by colonnades painted in rich hues, mostly red and gold. I guess I'd say the place is 3 or 4 centuries old. And to think, I almost took a desk job. 02/18/2018. The monks weren't thrilled by my liquid crystal glasses. Cameras are banned here, not sure whether due to religious beliefs or more practical concerns. They spent a few minutes looking over the glasses before returning them. Conveniently, they didn't bother to inspect my books, which contain a small arsenal of surveillance equipment. I don't think they were feigning ignorance about the glasses. If they're not using active shuttering, how are they protecting themselves? 02/19/2018. Blindfolds. I've only caught a few glimpses of blindfolded monks, but I'm sure of it. Somehow they're doing all the work of caring for the butterflies by sound and touch alone. The caretakers might not even know what they're dealing with. I've been watching out for any monks behaving unusually, but nothing so far. Whatever 3209 is being used for, it must be pretty limited. There might only be a handful of monks here aware of its effects. 02/20/2018. First sighting in Savannah Acadia. Not hard to find. They're kept in a small glass-roofed conservatory building against the southern wall. Small population from what I could see. Maybe 3 dozen or so. Hid some cameras and a few nearby bushes to keep an eye on things. Next morning, 4 men in blindfolds visited the conservatory. I wanted on the record that I've never been wrong about anything ever. 02/21/2018. I fit in fairly well around here. I guess working with Foundation has given me plenty of practice at the whole taking yourself out of the equation thing. Emotional distancing, constant self-analysis, ego starvation, etc. Difference is at the end of the job I get to go home and be me again. Hard to imagine living like this all the time. 02/23/2018. Inadvertently exposed myself to 3209. Woke up, opened my eyes, and the little fucker was perched right on my nose. The shimmer in its wings got me before I could look away. When I regained focus, it was gone. Must have zipped right out of there as soon as it was full. From now on, we'll wear glasses to bed. Need to figure out how it got in my room. Maybe the monks suspected I was onto them. Maybe they'd have me thrown out of the butterfly returned hungry. Maybe I'm after any excuse to frame my mistake as a good thing. I keep getting distracted trying to figure out what it took from me. Reviewing all my hobbies. These are a few of my favourite things. What's missing? What don't I care about anymore? 02/24/2018. Just noticed the carpets in the prayer hall. They're full of butterflies. Every single pattern, every border design. The monks here meditate on their knees with their heads bowed. The whole time, they're staring at butterflies. I've been looking at this all wrong. Forest for the trees. I haven't seen out of place behaviour because this whole place is about 3209. They're all in on it. 02/26/2018. I was right. Late last night, the Savannah Acadia was transferred in a box from the conservatory to the prayer hall. All the monks gathered inside the hall. No guests allowed. My cameras couldn't get clear visual due to poor lighting. There was only a dim, flickering glow cast by floating candles in frosted glass bowls. Audio came through just fine, though. Each monk recited a different phrase over and over. Longing for my childhood home. World politics. The cuteness of dogs. Show tunes for getting stuck in my head. It was like a confessional. The ritual lasted roughly half an hour. When it was over, they returned like the butterflies to the conservatory and went to bed. 02/28/2018. I've been thinking a lot these past few days, reflecting. Everything about this place encourages it. The windows at the end of corridors, the neatly trimmed grass in the courtyard, the flickering candles. There's a kind of stillness here that gets inside you. I tend to think of myself as an impartial observer. The Foundation concerns itself with facts, and facts do not depend on perspectives. I'm starting to wonder whether that was naive. I knew the facts of monastic life here perfectly, but until 2 days ago I failed to grasp their impact. Facts. Monasteries like this one strive for 3 mental states: amoha, non-delusion, avesa, non-hatred, and alopa, non-attachment. Emotional ties to worldly matters are considered poisonous. Impact. Is it only because of my cultural biases that 3209 appears harmful? Where is the line between apathy and alopa? Is Ryaxskaya a victim, or is he approached enlightenment? My instinct is to recommend capture of all cultivated populations of Sphenia Arcadia and administration of amnestics to everyone involved. It would be simpler, cleaner. It would be also an excusable mistake. These populations are already contained. They pose no threat to civilians. We have no justification to destroy the centuries of tradition and history that developed at monasteries like Tegargompa. If we erase every part of human culture capable of harm, will anything be left? 3/05/2018. Got home today. I'm still adjusting to how much warmer it is here. My son was so excited to have me back. He's been making all these little finger paintings. Didn't care about them. I didn't care about anything he said or did. I've always been overjoyed to see him after a long trip. No matter how hard I try, I cannot find that feeling now. My son is only 4 years old and I've lost interest in him. That's what 3209 took from me. I stand by my previous statements. Well, that was mildly haunting. Damn butterflies. The butterflies got him. Never before has that sentence held more terror. The butterflies got him. Excuse me. Right, we're on to 3426 now. Really wish I knew I was so gassy. I've not actually had anything that would cause it. Like, I've had my breakfast of cheese and peanut butter sandwiches, I've had 1.5 cups of coffee, and I've had water. That's literally been it. Who knows? It might be just because we're talking. Item number SCP-3426. I'm probably going to trip over that a lot. Object class, Cater. Special containment procedures. Until the nature of 3426 can be definitively ascertained, containment should focus on preventing as many of the theorized conditions for its occurrence as possible. As such, scientific progress into a unified physics hypothesis, footnote of colloquially termed theories of everything, such as string theory or loop quantum gravity, and the creation of infinitely sustainable energy should be heavily impeded. This already reads like it'd be something that Pokey would like. Other areas of social and technological progress that could potentially result in an occurrence of 3426 on Earth must be prevented by any reasonable means currently available. Additional measures may be taken in the event that the collective human race approaches attainment of Type 1 civilization status, as defined on the Kardashev scale. Footnote there. Defined as being able to store and use all energy that reaches the planet from the parent star. Investigation of phenomena related to 3426 will take place under Operation Grey Voices. Mechanical probe surveys to a maximum range of 100 light-years will attempt to ascertain the commonality and range of 3426. And manned excursions of post-3426 planets are currently in the planning process. Operation Grey Voices will centralize the relevant collected data and collaborate with other Foundation internal research divisions, including the Memetics and Infohazard Division, Temporal Anomalies Department, Thaumatological Department, and Biological Containment and Research Division, for the purpose of attaining a greater understanding of 3426. Civilian surveys of exoplanets and cosmological imaging projects will be strictly monitored for images or data that show evidence of 3426. Upon discovery, data of 3426 is to be erased or edited as necessary, and amnestics administered to the persons involved. Description: 3426 is a phenomenon that is responsible for the total extinction of a technologically and socially advanced planetary civilization. 3426 may be an event, entity, process, object, or concept. To date, there exists no definite hypothesis on the attributes of the anomaly. However, it is known that the conditions for the manifestation of 3426 are self-consistent and follow an established pattern. It is believed that the 3426 manifestation is widespread and possibly universal. Yeah, hello and welcome. And you've submitted a SCP of 2092. Okay, that's a new one. Except by stackers to know, no gas for me. Think my stomach is hardened against that. Beans, roast onions, on the other hand, better get a gas mask. Like, stuff like that, like Mexican food, just doesn't really get me. Because, you know, I was raised vegetarian, which has lots of pulses in it anyway, so I was fine. I was used to it. Been here for the start, but I've got some more SCPs I wanted and have been looking for more of that. That's entirely fine. As I mean, that's can't complain, like food coma. Good. A planet that's been affected by 3426 is termed post-3426. Post-3426 planets and civilizations share a number of common characteristics. The civilization must have achieved a relative degree of global socio-political stability. Footnote saying by relative it means that as a whole, widespread changes in the world order, upheavals in social norms, and non-localized political unrest are essentially eradicated. A limitless or indefinitely sustainable source of worldwide energy is in use, for example, nuclear fusion, hydrogen mining, orbital solar collection, or enhanced geothermal systems. Excuse me. This energy must be widespread and plentiful enough for the civilization to qualify as Type 1 civilization or higher on the Kardashev scale. A unified scientific theory / model of the universe must have been developed. Space travel is commonplace and advanced enough to allow for detailed exploration of the local solar system. There exists an organization whose purpose it is to catalogue and contain as many anomalous phenomena as possible. Post-3426 planets display widespread anomalous material corrosion, reality distortion, complete or near-complete corruption of information and information media, and the pervasive presence of visual cognitohazards and abnormalities. Sapient life forms on a post-3426 planet appear in two stages based on time since 3426 took place. If it has been 1 year or less since the occurrence of 3426, such organisms appear suspended or frozen in place, lack any consciousness, and display total cell death. In some cases, they may appear translucent or blurred to cameras and to the eye. Afterwards, intelligent life is apparently completely spatially erased, while possessions, information, and structures created as a result of the species remain present. If highly deviated, no physical remains of the species itself exist. Data, items, and artifacts were collected primarily through the mass usage of drones, orbital probes, and imaging sensors deployed onto post-3426 planets. Further information on the exact properties or effects of 3426 have been difficult to recover. Probes that enter the atmosphere of a post-3426 planet quickly deteriorate within 24 hours, becoming affected by the space-time distortion and material corrosion permeating the planet's surface and surroundings. As a result, recovered data on post-3426 planets is extremely limited. Based on data and related analysis from Operation Grey Voices, it is believed that 3426 induces a slow collapse of the consistency of world universal constraints and stable states within the planet. This collapse weakens forces interactions between elementary particles, causes extreme planet-wide ontokinetic and material distortion effects, and gradually prevents any information or consciousness thought from being distributed. The process culminates in all matter on the planet reaching a state of catastrophic incoherence, theoretically resulting in the slow erasure of objects, concepts, and life forms originating from it. This phenomenon has been provisionally classed as a ZK Alpha class cosmic... No, that's... Lambda, I think? ZK Lambda class cosmetic fragmentation scenario. While research into SCP-3426 has yielded a vast variety of information regarding its nature and end results, the mechanism by which 3426 acts remains unknown. Addendum 3426.1 Incomplete list of post-3426 planets. At present, Operation Grey Voices has examined all exoplanets within a 75 light-year radius of Earth. From the current exploration area, 16 planets have met the hypothesized conditions required for the occurrence of 3426. All 16 were affected by 3426 either upon discovery or within 5 years of detection. A partial list of post-3426 exoplanets and their characteristics is shown below. That's a fair few of them. Gliese 1214b, post-3426. Traits: ocean planet, hydrogen and helium atmosphere, dominant life forms were aquatic, non-humanoids with primary settlements underneath the ocean, technologically advanced society organized into strict unified social hierarchies. Outposts existed both in the atmosphere and in space, used for the purpose of research into local star system. The civilization had no clear leader of government system, rather, computers dispensed resources distributed according to caste. Post characteristics: after 3426, post-3426 6-2 had approximately half of the water transmuted to deuterium and tritium oxide. Consciousness and all sapient life forms spontaneously stopped. Computers and other data storage devices underwent apparent global information corruption, with only 15% of the civilization's information remaining readable. Water molecules no longer flow. The substance acts as a single, rigid, continuous solid. No notes. Kepler 443b. Traits: thick atmosphere, strong gravitational field, and cold average temperatures, dominant lifeforms had mammalian characteristics such as body hair and live birth, but possessed ectothermic circulation in the same fashion as reptiles. Me. Dominant religion involved the worship of an entity ascribed to the planet's star, which was said to be responsible for continually rebuilding and moving the universe. Post-3426 characteristics. The planet experienced a form of catastrophic reality degradation in which the formation of chemical compounds became impossible due to weakening of the electrostatic force. An additional anomalous effect causes all native living organisms to be perceived as a two-dimensional shimmering grey film. This effect is both present in photographs and video from the planet and physical artifacts collected from it. No notes. The SCP that cut the planet, at least one of them, yes. Loyton B. Traits. Rocky planet with Earth-like composition, orbiting red dwarf. Mild temperatures of 292 Kelvin, and nitrogen-oxygen atmosphere. Dominant life intelligence was humanoid. The planet had recently survived the effects of a catastrophic nuclear war, which subsequently led to a current period of utopian peace and social stability. Primary energy source was obtained through large-scale drilling into the planet's mantle. Post-3426 characteristics. All events taking place on this planet occur in an apparent disjointed slow motion. Movement, interaction, and even thought are anomalously decelerated. This deceleration is inconsistent among the surface, with some regions being slower than others. This effect can also manifest as a complete and total stopping of time, with all particle movement in an affected region ceasing. Analysis of the mantle of the planet revealed that it had been transformed into a perfectly smooth, transparent layer of pink glass. Interaction with the glass results in malfunction of nearly any electrically powered devices and an immense feeling of vertigo. Notes. Dominant lifeforms inhabiting the planet appear to communicate in an undocumented Indo-European language with significant similarities to Hittite, the extinct language during the Hittite Empire of the 16th to 30th centuries BCE. The state of this phenomenon as an anomaly is currently under review. TRAPPIST-1F. Traits. Orbit ultra-cooled dwarf star, rocky Earth-like composition with large high-pressure water vapor envelope covering planet. Similarly to Earth, planetary society consisted of a multitude of separated geopolitical states coexisting in a roughly capitalist system. Analog of the SCP Foundation, notably, was a peacekeeping organization that traded anomalies and used them strategically to prevent wars, research medical and scientific advances, or expose social and economic injustices. Post-3426 characteristics. Extreme spatial distortion. Entire regions are displaced from the rest of the surface, while a low static blur is visible across most of the planet. It is unknown whether this is a visual or ontokinetic effect. On occasion, a sudden tear in the space-time continuum within the planet's atmosphere is detected, followed by the appearance of black mist. This mist will usually move towards an unconscious sentient life form or data storage device and enter it. Once this has been completed, it becomes inoperable for any being to comprehend any concepts related to or contained in the affected object. This has made data gathering from this planet extremely difficult. Notes. All containment sites operated by this planet's Foundation analog have been replaced by large spheres of total darkness. Mechanical probes entering these regions of total darkness experience an unusual form of breakdown. See Addendum 3426.3. Addendum 3426.2, Recovered Data as an Artifacts List. Rough translations of recovered data were provided by the Linguistics Department under request by Operation Grey Voices. Translations are not guaranteed to be accurate. Access in file. Let's have a few of these. Item source. Computer terminal drive on space station orbiting post 34262. We're on the verge of finally discovering it. Corrupted. Equation of everything. The mathematics is working perfectly. Too perfectly, perhaps, for me to remain comfortable with this experiment much longer. Corrupted. Natural laws, behaviors, and forces. I cannot help but feel what these findings imply. I cannot keep this secret. This conclusion is something that affects everything, not just on the planet, everywhere. Corrupted that exists. We are corrupted. As I stare further and further into the sand grains that make this world, I am further convinced that they are built out of mist and magic. Item source, emergency message found playing on repeat in all structures in post 3426-2. Attention, corrupted, worldwide informational, physical and chemical hazards. Please remain calm and take note of the following precautions to ensure your safety. Once this message completes, shut off all electronic devices you currently possess, close all openings or viewings from outside the building you are currently in. If you are not currently inside an enclosed building, seek shelter in one immediately. Cover up or illuminate all sources of darkness in your location of shelter. Destroy any reflective surfaces in your location of shelter. Destroy any transparent surfaces in your location of shelter. If you begin witnessing bizarre, disturbing or unsettling effects occurring in your location of shelter, do not report or point them out to any other person. Doing so will allow corrupted to spread. When you begin to hear the screaming in your mind, move to a room or place where you can be alone. Darken the room completely. This will allow the fading to happen most quickly. Bring any possessions of sentimental value with you. The screams will become overpowering. Do not panic. Focus on a memory of great intensity to you, and be silent until you do not exist. If at any point you feel you cannot continue, remember that a society-issued weapon should be available in every facility. Your death will be quick and painless. This message will continue until nothing is left to hear it. This message corrupted it. This message will continue until nothing is left to hear it. This is already getting grabbed. This is real spooky. Thank you for the hydration reminder, right? Should pull that. Item source, a native plant from post 3426-5. As far as can be ascertained, the plant is approximately 0.75 meters tall and is most likely a flowering plant. This plant was common across the planet's ground and was pollinated by many native fauna on the planet. Within the first 15 minutes of viewing, the object is perceived by all intelligent life as a plant-shaped mass of static. The static appears two-dimensional from all sides despite existing in a three-dimensional space. Extended observation of the static tends to cause discomfort to all observers. After 15 minutes have passed, the plant is no longer able to be perceived by the observer. The observer's memories of the plant are immediately retained, but physical viewing of the plant's location presents itself as if the object itself was not present. Testers could describe an unknown object perfectly even if it was presumably obscured by the plant. This effect changes after an additional 2 to 3 days have passed. All people who are affected by the property that prevents perception of the plant begin to see the plant as a miscellaneous flower that the observer attaches emotional value or meaning to. The flower type that is perceived varies greatly from person to person. Foundation AICs, upon being presented with the plant, appear to perceive it as a random pattern of shape and colours. The reason for this effect is undetermined. Item source, official internal statement from the SCP Foundation equivalent from post 3426-10. To all that remain, we, the Conclave of Six, reveal our words to you today because Kelting, footnote 5, approximate phonetic recreation of the native name for the planet, will soon cease to exist, and it must come to pass because of our doing. We've delved too far, knew too much. We wanted to know secrets which were not meant for the mortals to know, questions of gods and creators, questions of the elementary makeup of everything. Now we face the apocalypse, divine punishment for our transgressions. We have little left to say. In the coming days, you will find that the domain of physical meaning will shatter into a billion pieces. Specifically, this planet will be ravaged, both by a massive upheaval in universal laws that is roughly equivalent to the entire planet becoming a high-intensity hostile matter, affecting anomaly, or as you know it, a segment M threat to RH phenomenon, and by a vast number of incorporeal entities. We believe they're entities, but we're not sure. They will attempt to slowly erase and corrupt all sources of information and knowledge originating from the planet. Yes, this includes you. You have two choices. If you stay on the planet, your consciousness will be ripped apart from you and leave only a pale image of anything you were. Time and space will blend their twisted forms into each other until everything and nothing happens at once. Every second squished together and lengthened into eternity. Communication and thought will die a slow death. Eventually, everything that originates from our world will collapse into itself and will be erased from the universe. The only fragments of our legacy will be warped to be unrecognizable. Alternatively, you can take the preliminary space shuttle we've made out of all the anomalous materials we still have left. It will get you far, but not much further. From what we understand, is the very fabric of the multiverse itself that is coming to blot us out. Long live Kelging. May its death not be in vain. Wow. Item source, handwritten note scored to the inside back cover of a book on post 3426-13. The world is on slow fire. Swarms of bitter void break apart from the sky and attack. I don't think there's time left to escape. I think even if we did, they would follow. I looked upwards, and in a moment the sky was suddenly black and the sun was even darker. All filaments and strands of infectious shadows. I don't know how they got here, why they chose us. Why? They sent the flying things, signals. I can't recall the names. But as it hit the black barrier, they simply disappeared. We're going away too. Everything I know is fading. I look at the world and half of the words I use for things have been blocked out by my memory. The computers don't work anymore. When I open this book, the words are replaced by bars of white and black, and that's what they're doing, don't you see? They are nothing but nothing. They want to make us unreal, and time and space unreal. As I look out the window, the top half of the buildings next to me is disjointed from the bottom half. The people in the window across are frozen, and they flash and move for an instant, and are frozen once more. Every time they move, the colour of everything turns red and blue and green in a strobe of terror. Reality is coming apart at the seams. I have my sister in the house with me. We're trying to keep out of reach of the unreal darkness. She has told me that there is a voice in her head. I asked her what the voice was saying. She said it was only a wailing. This is the end for her then. I will watch as the wailing overpowers her mind, and she forgets everything she is. She will forget she was ever an intelligent being. She will forget all of the world and all of the past and the present and the future, the little of it we have left. She will then become unregisterable to me in my mind or to anyone's mind. Her consciousness and her identity will be severed from the rest of our knowledge until she dissolves alone in a universe of one and becomes an object eaten by the all-consuming unreality. She was too young. I hear something in my head. Corrupted. The light. Give me a... Oh, it leads to a tail. Level 4/3426 classified. Addendum 3426.3 post 3426/3 exploration log. Entering clearance. That's a fairly lengthy exploration log, but it's part of it. The following log depicts the received camera feed of the exploration of void regions of post 3426/13. Involving the usage of an unmanned drone. The file is limited to personnel level 4 clearance or higher. While neither info hazards nor cognitus hazards have yet been detected to be present in this transcription, all personnel viewing the file must undergo a level 2 hazardous meme scan before proceeding. Step off the floor, right, they turn to rubber band. Oh, God, I hate when that happens, lad. In order to further investigate the widespread regions of void present across this planet, the SCPs Sternlicht, an unmanned exploration vessel, dropped out of FTL in the upper atmosphere of the planet. The Sternlicht simultaneously launches a close-range automated drone, SKF-070, with camera feed connected to the main ship. Begin log. The drone enters the lower atmosphere and deploys parachute. Drone registers minor surface damage. Later analysis shows a thin layer of the material surrounding the drone has been transformed into balsa wood. Cause of this event is unknown. The drone lands on the surface of the planet. Video feed shows that the sky appears to be phasing in and out, making formations such as clouds and the sun periodically look transparent. The sky is a pinkish-red colour with a dark hue, caused by the low brightness of the red dwarf star. TRAPPIST-1, which is the name of the star. A number of avian life forms appear to be frozen in the sky. Drone begins movement towards point of target. From its altitude, the camera can see the regional landscape. The area appears to be a coastal grassland plain. Ocean water drifts toward the shoreline in misshapen angular waves. As the waves break onto the beach, they are suddenly turned into what are apparently perfect cut diamonds. The diamonds fade away a few seconds after they are deposited on the beach. Camera pans 180 degrees. A number of vaguely humanoid life forms are frozen in place along the shore, thin white wisps evaporating off their forms. Debris is strewn about the area, and small fires burn in the distance. Abruptly, there's a flash on the camera that blinds the view momentarily. After a few seconds, the view returns. Revealing the entire sky appears to have lost all colour contrast. There's a crackling noise, and the colour of the sky returns to normal. Drone begins heading towards target location. Drone passes over planet's surface for approximately 4 kilometers. Video feed notes the appearance of several more anomalous features. Several structures and buildings appear to be completely flattened into the ground, creating two-dimensional images of the structures and their contents on the surface. The drone passes by a number of posters, billboards, and other signage. However, all words and iconography on the signs appear as unreadable black bars. Many of the objects, flora and fauna on the planet are warped or disjointed in some way, and some are translucent or nearly transparent. I've been leader, except I tend to get spikes of pain in my knee every now and then, or the damn thing just locks up. Right now, we've said, what's the brain done, right? Drone approaches target. Camera shows completely dark sphere, completely static, emitting no sound or light. The sphere is roughly estimated to be about a quarter-mile in radius. Drone activates several sensors to scan anomaly, including light, sound, sentience, metascatting, and conceptual identity. All sensors return negative. Drone breaches the barrier of the void. This be just a Bethesda game, that's why reality broke. That works too well. That really does. Honestly, I was thinking that when I was reading those, I was like, that sounds just like what happens on your average Bethesda game. Give me 2 seconds. I need to send a message. Come on. Good God, I need to charge my phone. Alright, there you have me doing it. Right as the true meme hazard. Camera feed begins to play faint sounds of static. A pristine, non-anomalous planetary landscape is seen about 50 yards ahead. There's an industrial building with large glass windows and unreadable insignia branded on the front. Drone enters an open door on the first floor of the complex. Just that ride vanishes soon. Oh no. Static slightly increases in volume. Drone emerges in a clean bluish-white office space with a large plastic counter on the far side, decorated with potted plants. A sign is hung on the back of the wall behind the counter. Normally the sign would be illegible or obscured by sensory bars. However, there are words on the sign reading, "Nothing is here, lock yourself inside." Drone proceeds down open corridor. To one side there are large glass windows open to the sky. As the drone continues down the corridor, the windows appear to grow and shrink in dimension. There's a small object at the end of the corridor, which terminates in a dead end. The corridor is not lit well enough for the object to be identified. Set onto the floor of the corridor, which was evidently a television set. The television has the same shape and dimensions to match a typical CRT television from the late 1970s. As the drone approaches, it turns on. Thank you, DJ, for your contribution to the Master Game Stream Challenge. And again, last time I played, only got 10 turns in 40 minutes. That sounds like when I play. The punishment snack. Yay. I will have the punishment snack at the end. Why don't I just imagine the LC monsters playing Uno and it ends with the blind dog eating everyone? Yeah. I can imagine that. Girl, hello and welcome. Going for a random quote. Well, now I know what happened after my surgery. Fair. The drone stops despite the control systems from the steering lift being completely severed. The sound of static on the video feed suddenly increases in volume, nearly drowning out any other noise. The television shows a series of sounds and images, including clips of asteroids flowing through space, large networks of massive supercomputers, crowds of people going about their daily activities, the drone itself hovering in front of the television screen, and an endlessly brightly lit corridor. These images cycle through into each other, interspersed with flashes of white light. The cycling becomes faster, and the flashes of light last longer and longer. Faintly visible in the light now are outlines of shapes, amorphous forms that move about on screen. The amorphous forms combine and reform until they create the vague outline of a human head. The human head is looking directly into the drone's camera. The drone is suddenly propelled forward towards a collision course with the blank wall. The wall appears to fall away, and the drone is pushed forward into an empty white space and begins to fall. After exactly 10 minutes of continuous falling, the drone suddenly emerges into the office lobby at the entrance of the building. The lobby is nominally the same in organisation, appearance and features. The sign behind the counter has changed words. It now reads, "Go back to sleep, go back to sleep, go back." Outside the floor-to-ceiling windows, the entire sky has acquired a dull red glow. The camera notes the presence of a new hallway to the other side of the previous hallway that was not present before. As the drone approaches, faint sounds of mechanical operation, such as electrical beeps and running motors, becomes faintly audible. Just as the drone is about to enter the hallway, the video feed suddenly emits the sound of screaming, and the drone appears again in the center of the office foyer. For approximately 2 hours, the drone continuously attempts to enter the newly made hallway, with the same event occurring each time. Over the next 2 hours, the sun sets and night falls. There is knocking on the windows, but no movement is registered from the outside. The knocking on the windows becomes more and more frantic. From the outside, the stars appear to be blood red. The drone approaches the hallway, and this time it is not impeded. The static in the background swells and crackles, and a faint voice can be made out just underneath the interference. The voice says, "The universe is an infinite staircase, but it is shattered. You will shatter it." The drone proceeds down the hallway. The hallway is an endless brightly lit corridor with no exits or side doors. Fluorescent lights are positioned on the ceiling at regular intervals. After a few minutes of travel, it is impossible to tell how far the drone has moved. The featurelessness of the hallway prevents any kind of relative positioning. After about 1 hour of travel, the static slowly begins to quiet, and is replaced with the growing sound of high-pitched wailing coming from thousands of sources. Dark wisps are emitted from the lamps, swarming together and flowing through the air. The audio is interspersed with intense high-frequency sound. When the sound is emitted, the video feed suddenly pixelates and shows random patterns of vivid colour. The pattern continues for a little less than 2 days. A subtle change is now added to this pattern of data. Every time a pixelation event occurs, one of the pixels in the camera remain dead, sticking to the camera screen. Over time, the dead pixels fill the entire camera view. The video feed has now been completely obscured by a variety of dead pixels. The sound of screaming has reached approximately 150 decibels, intense enough to cause rupturing of the eardrums. Shapes appear to form in the dead pixels, as if the pixels were moving through a field or an outline of static. The hallway's shape is vaguely visible in the static as the drone continues to move through it, but now visible are hundreds of distorted human figures that stand still in the hallway, extending indefinitely through the corridor. Their faces are featureless except for the eyes and the mouth. The high-frequency pitches cease. The audio feed is now completely silent. The swarm of humanoid faces all simultaneously turn towards the drone's camera. The figures disintegrate into black minute particles. The pixelation effect on the camera clears. The lights in the hallway all go out, leaving the drone in complete darkness. The drone activates its searchlights and shines into the hallway. The hallways begin to spin and reflect on itself. Different sections of the hallway seem to cross over each other, rotate and reverse until it creates a kaleidoscope-like pattern in place of the original corridor. The hallway splits in half repeatedly into sections separated by cracks of blinding white light. The hallway then appears to unravel and coil itself around the probe until it has no room left to move. The cracks in the hallway expand and the light spills out of it and grows brighter. The camera view switches abruptly to a continuous white field. Nearly 6 hours later, a change is detected in camera view. The white field begins to gradually fade into total blackness. As this occurs, systems on the drone progressively shut down in sequence, and the probe begins to lose capabilities. The drone shakes violently as processing systems completely fail. A dark red flash is briefly seen permeating the camera's view before the feed cuts out. End log. Addendum. The transcription of this camera feed is based on a general consensus from a variety of viewers on the drone's camera recordings. The accuracy or reality of the transcription is not currently known. Re-recording or attempts at computer analyzing of this exploration log indicate that all reception ends past the last timestamp. One of the very early timestamps past this point. The recording apparently consists entirely of static. Wow. The decibels I get to when I scream. 150 decibel re. That one was really haunting. That was like actual cosmic horror. We can go for a random code and gets big old bone man. That could be Dark Souls. But next. (2092), and I think we're going to call it after that, and it's something else. I'll stream a game or something. Don't know what yet, but I'll stream something. We just find the next SCP. That's next SCP near the top. Where is it? Where is it? There you are. What's that? Mark that one's complete, and I will take the punishment snack now. Another birthday cupcake. Yay! Then he goes for a random quote and gets a little less you have a type. Not wrong. They still look like they're mouldy. Look. Bits of green in it. It looks like it's mouldy, but it's not. Mm. 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 Oh. Oh. That was a lot more goopy than I was expecting. Ugh. Sprinkles. Item number SCP-2092. Object class safe. Special containment procedure. Due to the distant location and inert nature of 2092, suppression of information and continuous observation is considered sufficient for its containment. That quote. It was a while ago, whilst I was doing Infamous. Undercover agents employed by the major space agencies must ensure that non-Foundation space probes leaving the proximity of Earth are incapable of receiving electromagnetic signals on the frequency range 3.25 to 3.30 GHz. They're also responsible for expunging the transcripts of SCP-2092-1 from documents related to previous space missions. Probe 2092-A must observe 2092 at all times. Its encrypted video feed must be translated to Site 15 via Probe 2092-B. Access to the video feed is restricted to personnel holding security clearance level 4 or higher. If contact is lost with either of the probes, a failure or a failure is expected in 3 years, replacements must be sent. Now for a Reese's Pieces mini Easter egg. You can keep that for yourself, Lid. I am not a fan of Reese's Pieces because Reese's peanut butter is entirely too sweet. Description: 2092-1 is a repetitive electromagnetic signal with a frequency of 3.274 GHz. It was received by multiple interplanetary probes. Footnote 1 was first received by the Venus probe Magellan sometime in 1992. but was never recorded on Earth or by satellites in Earth orbit. The designation 2092 is used for the currently uncontained source of origin of the signal. 2992-1 appears to be a message encoded in binary with 5,329 bits of length. Dr. Hart noticed that arranging the bits of the message into a table with 73 rows and 73 columns results in an image apparently intended to convey meaning. The image features 6 objects. It is hypothesized the image is a schematic model of the solar system, the largest object representing the sun, and 4 other objects representing the terrestrial planets. The leftmost object does not correspond to any known astronomical object. Foundation researchers have hypothesized that the leftmost object is intended to be a representation of 2092. 2092 is theorized to be an asteroid in an orbit directly opposite to that of the Earth and orbiting at the same velocity as the Earth. The fact that 2092-1 was never received by any device in the proximity of Earth seems to support this hypothesis, since the sun would block all electromagnetic signals from such a source. Yeah, it's whole egg. You go for it, Lid. You feel free to inhale all of the Reese's Pieces stuff. Actually, no, you probably want to share it with Ride. A space mission to investigate the assumed location of 292 is currently prepared. Addendum. Probe 2092-A was launched on an intercept course with 2092 on 12/11/1998. Shortly thereafter, Probe 2092-B was launched on 01/03/1999. Probe 2092-B is intended to act as a communications relay station to send signals back to Earth from Probe 2092-A. Both devices were disguised as NASA Mars probes. Cover stories about the failure of these missions were issued to the public. On sometime in 2000, Probe 2092-A reached the presumed coordinates of 2092. Photographs sent back from the probe reveal a roughly rectangular metallic object approximately 7 meters by 8 meters by 10 meters in size. The surface of the object is covered in 10 square screens displaying the same message in the following languages: Arabic, Chinese, English, French, German, Hindi, Japanese, Russian, and Spanish. Footnote on Hart date, changes were observed in the Chinese and Russian text. The meaning of the message was not altered, but the phrasing became more modern. It suggests that 2092 is capable of observing Earth and its languages, and it modifies the displayed messages accordingly. Let's go. Hello and welcome. Thanks for going to chat. Just found really yesterday. Well, I'll have to wait until next time. Yep, keep it on file, or actually, send the number in chat, and I will add it for the next one. It's the school. And congratulations to go on redeeming not first. You were still first, Foxo. The English version of the message played by 2092, recorded on in 2000. Welcome, people of Earth. Congratulations on finding me. I am the ambassador appointed to your planet. My duty is to wait here until you are advanced enough to leave your home and face me. As a final test of your merits, you will be given a single question entrusted to me eons ago. Answer correctly, and the prize will be knowledge of far past your imagination. But be warned. Might you fail to give the true answer? Otherworldly curses shall fall upon your beloved planet, bringing forth creatures straight from your worst nightmares for no less than 10 millennia. Your race gets a new chance to solve the riddle only after that period of horrors. Now read the question that will determine your fate, and show me the worth of your people. It's been a while. Scoo, thank you very much for the 2 dog bits. Very much appreciated. You found a new source from the kennels, I guess. It took a while. You really had to stash up. That's been saved now. Let's stash up. A mountain of dog bits prepared to be distributed. Access to the full tapes requires security clearance level 4. Enter credentials. Oh. Question is currently not available. Please try again in 2,365 years and 127 days. That's why the SCP exists. Because we fucked up on the question before, and now we're dealing with the aftermath still. Jesus. Dog balls and egg farts. Oh, God. Dresden made one of those on Tuesday night. I'm still partially suffering from it. Wow. It's one of the many origins. That was really good. I enjoyed that. Let's go. Oh. Remember, there's no such thing as SCP canon. Or is there? Boom. SCP canon. Oh. I think I know what I'm. Okay, I'm gonna put this to a poll. So what we follow this up with. Actually,